the Drew Estate Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokinTobacco.com, and it's Saturday night. Once again, that's right, it's Spare Notes night. I am live in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in Boston, Massachusetts, and joined with me tonight, the only other person with me tonight, that's right, Kevin Acuff is on vacation, so we will be holding down the fort without him. But that's okay, because it's like old times. It's just me and my very good friend, Mr. William Cooper of Indian Trail, North Carolina. You may know him from cigar-coop.com. That's right, the OG, the original blogging gangster who, you know, really set the tone in the blogosphere years ago. Hall of Famer.
Damn bloggers.
Those damn bloggers.
Damn bloggers.
Media Hall of Fame
Yeah.
member, William Cooper. What's up, Coop?
Too kind. Hey, what's going on? Good to be here.
Sorry. I had to pick at my nail there. I was digging into my finger and it hurt. I apologize. But yeah, no, before the show, got the countdown going on, getting all fired up, getting excited, getting my cigar lit with my SD Dupont accessories, as always.
Yep.
Don't worry, it's not time yet, but I was just getting a little extra, a little pump there. And I was talking with my man Danny there in the comments, looking for our other regulars. Where's Jay Davis, Dan Thompson, Mickey Pegg? Roll call, calling them out. Where are they? Get your ass on here.
Mickey's traveling because he was in Charlotte. I didn't get a chance to see him, but Mickey is traveling, so I'll give him a pass.
I know that too.
Tonight.
I know that too. And I was actually
Yeah,
supposed to meet up with him today because he's in Boston. But with this show, and when he was getting to town, and I was like, it's just gonna be too tight of a turnaround, and I didn't want to be super late.
Yeah,
to the
he
show.
wanted to get together yesterday, but it actually was my youngest son's birthday, and I didn't want to leave, so I didn't get a chance to see Mickey, and he had an event in the morning, and he was flying out right after. Somewhere is what he said.
And I'm getting reports that he who shall not be named has arrived as well.
Don't do it.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Oh, man. Coop's already like, fuck. We're only like a minute in. Anyway, let's move on. First things first. Coop, it looks like, I'm not going to ask you what you're smoking. I'm going to ask you, what are you finishing over there? Because you're almost down to the nub.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I'm smoking. So this is a cigar that's going to be reviewed on Coop. I already went through the review for it. I got to just publish it. It is the EP Carrillo Platinum Bash.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I've smoked that yet.
Yep, so this was a limited release. It was one of these crowdsourced selections. They put out a 3-pack. You got to vote on the blend. People voted on the San Andreas blend. And I finished the review. I had an extra one, so I lit it up before the game. And I've been smoking it kind of slow, so not a bad cigar. Well, I can say it's Ernesto's best cigar by any means, but it's not a bad cigar.
Yeah, I mean the Pledge, the Encore, the Allegiance. I thought all of those were some of the best cigars that came out of EP Carrillo. I mean,
yeah,
those 3 cigars. I mean, lights out.
Allegiance most likely will land on the Coop list, I believe.
I would say the same for us.
Yeah, I think Allegiance is going to land on it. This one probably won't. There's one more EP Carrillo review I have before the review deadline at the end of the month, and that's the Pledge of Allegiance is coming up.
Oh yeah.
So that is one of the that is like I have like 3 more cigars to smoke before the deadline. That's one of the 3. So, and I'm just kind of spacing them out. But after that, I'm going to write up a brand called Howard G, the Cameroon. This is a Bear Duplessis favorite. He's got us all smoking these Howard G Cameroons, and it's an excellent cigar. So I'll be lighting that one up next.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I know Mitchell and Kevin had a great time at that booth at the trade show earlier this year. They really went wild. So Howard G, man, it's one to watch.
I tell you what, he is a great. If you haven't had him as a guest, get him as a guest. He's a great interview. He's just a great guy, and he's partnering with Ike Taylor and Leon Searcy, former NFL guys. He's doing some good stuff. I think he's actually going to be at the Great Smoke this year, which I think is great news.
That's really cool.
I believe he's one of the vendors this year at the Great Smoke. I saw the list this morning.
So, first of all, not to change topic too abruptly, but Jay Davis is here. So, there's that.
But okay.
That makes me feel good.
Jay Davis did me a big solid this week.
Did he?
He got me those lunatics.
Oh, that's
So 10 by 100. Yeah, so Jay's got them, and they're going, and they are going fast. And they're going to be reviewed like they're going to go into a much earlier review cycle. They'll probably be reviewed by the end of November because those coffins are just too big to keep in the humidor, and it's just it's taking way too much space up. So there's going to be a review. I'll put it in for at least 21 days, and then after that, it's probably going to bump some stuff up in the review, but it won't bump the 2023 list. So it will be after the 2023 reviews are done.
Now, Jay Davis, Kapler to the Red Sox, rumor free. Jay, listen, it was all fun and games when it was all fun and games when it was the San Francisco Giants, who I don't think we know anyone who's a fan of who follows us.
Rob Rasmussen is, but yeah.
Okay, one guy. So safe to, but now, I mean, this is dangerous. It's not funny anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Bear Duplessis, where are you at? I'm gonna tag Bear because Bear, where are you?
Bear is not. We messaged him yesterday on that actually. But he was pretty busy at work. In fairness, so and look, this is I don't need to say anything on how I feel about this. So and I won't. So
I just tagged Bear and I was like, I need you in here right now because I can't debate with Jay all night on this. So I need Bear to show up in the comments to be like, this is why we don't want Gabe. So
and the guy, I mean, honestly, there's so many. I mean, let's take my personal feelings of Gabe Kapler aside. There's so many good general manager candidates out there? That could be president, Red Sox president of baseball operations. I would just be dumbfounded if they would bring in. Forget how I feel about him. There's some experienced candidates out there that I think could do a great job with the Red Sox. So, including we have a guy who used to be at the Phillies, Matt Klentak, who I think was a little young when he was with us, and but he was responsible for bringing Bryce Harper to our team. So, so I mean, he would. I think he might be ready for. But there's got to be just better candidates than a guy who's never had. He was not even an assistant GM. This guy. So I mean, forget what I feel about him.
What a bomb. Doesn't matter. The Orioles are going to dominate that division for the next 5 years. I agree. Kapler is not the answer.
If they don't pay those guys, they won't. But you got to pay those.
I don't know. I was going to say, Coop. I agree with you. I mean,
Orioles, they're good. They've got one of the best farm systems. And I'll say this other thing. This Arizona team that we're playing is a legitimately good team, and they are managed by a guy who used to be with the Red Sox, Torey Lovello, who I think is one of the best. Sometimes he scratches. He makes me scratch my head with his moves. This guy, I don't know how he does it because this team, in all reality, I'm shocked they even made the playoffs, and he is absolutely getting the most out of his team right now. As opposed to our manager, who I'm convinced I like our manager, but we're not going to win a championship with him. He's not a championship caliber manager we have right now. So, and it's a problem. You can see he's not a championship caliber manager. Torey Lovello is.
So, according to the wise and all-knowing Alan Rubin, Kapler has experience in the front office. He was the director of player development for the Dodgers. For what? Like,
are we really gonna talk Alan Rubin and Gabe Kapler? That's all I gotta say. Are we really gonna go down that route?
No, I just wanted to bring up the stupid comment that was made. You know what I mean? Come on. You really think I believe him? Like, that's a great idea.
Bring him in, he'll be freaking going apeshit. And so,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just thought that was good comedy because it was just kind of dumb.
It's not even funny. It's sad. It's not even funny. We got to have something better to talk about than that.
I know. We do. We have some things we're gonna get to, but first, let's talk about the accessories. I grabbed. You know what? I just realized I grabbed my work hat. This is a hat that I've designated just for work. That's why it's so messy looking. And I accidentally grabbed that one instead of my nice one for the show. So now I feel fucking dingy. But whatever.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I want Coop's opinion on this blast. And that's from Jay Davis, who says, as do the Rangers, though they have exceeded expectations this year, but they need more to beat Houston.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. They're close. You know.
So sick of Houston.
You know, obviously Scherzer is not doing what they wanted to do. DeGrom got hurt. Yeah, they're a good team. I mean,
they're close.
I don't. Yeah, they're close. They're close.
I think that if they don't get it this year, they got a good shot at next year, provided that they have the right off season.
They have the manager. You know, maybe they get DeGrom back and he's better. Yeah, I like this Rangers team for the next few years.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But first, let's talk about what we're cutting and lighting with. As always, here in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios, there's only one brand of accessories that we use. That's right, it's SD Dupont, featuring the new Defi Extreme in Petrol Blue. Beautiful new finish that just came out this year. We saw this at PCA 2023. Matte blue. It's like a magnetic blue. It's nice. It's a little bit lighter than a royal blue, and the matte finish. The matte finish really brings it together, I have to say. Yeah. And Coop's got he also has one. He's got that nice polar white. That's a beautiful lighter.
It's a great lighter. I am really impressed with. I have not used the Defi yet, so I was able to get one of these from Les actually for the show. Just thank you to Les, and
huge thank you to Les, man.
Yeah, huge thank you to Les, because this thing. And these are on loan to us, by the way. But I told Les I'm going to be getting one of these. So, because these are not these are high-end lighters. So
they are.
But I'm so impressed with this lighter. It's just got a great grip. It's just really easy to use. It's great for touch-ups. It's got that you got that flame. It's a little hard to see, but the angle flame. So it's a double jet that kind of goes into a single jet. It's a great lighter.
It really is. Fantastic lighter. I also always have my single jet maxi jet lighter with me. I also have the SD Dupont Slim 7. Nice, real small but thin. Look how thin that lighter is. It is just razor thin with a razor thin blade flame. You can kind of make that out right there. And then of course I have my dual combo cutter and cigar stand. Only from the best of the best. SD Dupont, be exceptional. We have our guests are really starting to pour in here tonight. Jay's here, Danny's here, John's here, Mitchell Santaga's here from SmokinTobacco.com. Carlito Fuente is here. Huge shout out to Carlito Fuente's here.
Absolutely.
I don't. Maybe Les Mann will pop in. Everyone's talking about Les Mann, but of course.
Great guy.
I was actually with Les and Carlito last Saturday night at Regency Cigar Emporium, East Greenwich Island. For an event. Carlito was the guest of the evening.
And I was doing moonshine while you guys were there, ironically, because I was in Tennessee and I had some moonshine.
There you
so
go.
It was kind of ironic. I said, "Hey, I'm doing the moonshine, and you're with Moonshine Charlie." So
I was with him.
Yeah. So it was kind of ironic. Yeah.
I was drinking and smoking with Les Mann, and then Carlito sashayed into the room, and
did
his thing.
Yeah. I was jealous. I wish I was with you guys, but I had
smoking a Chateau Fuente just for you, Carlito. Not that I knew you were going to be here, but I just happened to be smoking that. So
I have some Fuentes put aside, hopefully for Monday or Tuesday. So so they're aside right now because there's hopefully something special happens Monday, Tuesday with the Phillies. So.
What? Did they advance the World Series?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I'll smoke them anyway to congratulate the season, because I didn't think we'd get this far even this year. But yeah, they're gonna be for they're gonna be for Monday and Tuesday. So I have a 20th and an Oro. I'm gonna be smoking.
Well, good for you. Those are some great cigars. Definitely celebratory. Oh, look at it's a Fuente night. Smoking a Fuente Magnum Rosado 52. That's one of my favorite Fuentes. That's a great cigar.
I just saw something about Fuente Mania. That's at Holtz, right? And we just interviewed Andy Green on Thursday
Ashton.
night from Ashton. And I know Andy, and I know you know him too.
Yep.
And, this is the first time I had him on a full show, and he is just what a great guy. What a great
Yeah.
guy, and what a history he gave us of that brand as well. It's there's a long connection with Fuente with that brand too. So what a great interview. Andy was great. So
Andy's a great guy, both professionally and personally.
I really like him a lot.
He's a very he's always generous with his time. He's always very gracious, very helpful. I've had a lot of great conversations with Andy.
I've told people if you're not visiting Ashton at the trade show, you're missing out. They have been great to us the last 3 years. I tell people if you're gonna go there, he recommends go day 3 because he is much more open after day 3, and sure enough he was this year. So and he's always made extended time for us in the booth. So great booths to go visit at PCA. He's one of my favorite places to go every year.
Well, it's funny that you bring up PCA because one of the things we can talk about tonight is some PCA news that just dropped yesterday, which you can read on both of our websites.
Yep.
But the PCA formally announced to us yesterday that they will be no longer charging the media any fees to attend the trade show. Or let me back up. Let me reword that. There are no more yearly membership fees, which also includes admission to the trade show. Ergo, media now has free admission into the trade show. However, the PCA also said that they would be revisiting their vetting process in which people are screened and selected to come to the trade show. I know, Coop, you and I have talked about this on the shows before. We have talked with members of the PCA regarding concerns we have. I mean, look, we've talked about manufacturers giving out badges to people to come to the trade show who maybe more or less don't belong there.
Right.
And taking advantage of that just to get into the show,
Yeah.
and then they're not even at that booth. They're sauntering around, just kind of putting a bad reputation on media as a whole because they're saying that that's what they're doing, even though the manufacturer is getting them in. And then meanwhile, the rest of us are paying to come to the trade show, and we have to wait until the first day of the trade show to get in with all of the VIP people. So we don't even get any uninterrupted time to do any interviews. Meanwhile, they get to go in from day one of load-in because they're on a manufacturer's badge. So they get to go in there whenever they want to, and they get to go in for free. And the rest of us who are paying to be there have to, be there in a much more limited time in the grand scheme of things. And I know to maybe the outsider, you're like, well, how does that concern me? Or, oh, that just sounds like you guys are complaining. But it's like, you don't understand, as people in the media who go to that trade show for a specific purpose, it's all planned out. I mean, it's a lot of time that we spend. It's planned out. It's very strategically, put together on what days you go to what booth and whatever. And then when you have a team like myself, Cigar Coop, Half Wheel, there's planning involved. We don't just show up and walk around like we're at an event. No. That's not what this is. So, any extra time we have is huge for us. So when you get people who are walking in for free, it cost me. What did it cost me? It cost me almost $600.
$600,
just in fees this year, just to get everyone into the trade show because I had to buy more badges because we have an even bigger team. So it's a little frustrating to see that. On top of that, on another conversation that we've had recently is, I know that several people had raised concerns as why are we paying membership dues to an organization that's now competing with us for cigar reviews and stories in the media aspect. So now the PCA has dropped those fees for the media and will also be requiring folks to submit multiple forms of content to show that they are, a legitimate journalistic media source to attend the trade show. So I thought that was very interesting.
First, I'll kind of address a couple of things here. The problem wasn't the fees, in my opinion, because while I think it was a little unfair to have a fee on media, don't get me wrong, it was not compared to all my other expenses. I'm not trying to it was a smaller expense. Okay, and when I think you and I were talking about the grand scheme of what it costs to go to PCA.
Yeah.
And I understand we need to support the organization, and it doesn't mean necessarily that I won't financially support the organization, just because they dropped the fees. So, um, but this, you gotta remember why the fees were put in. Okay, the fees were put in to discourage the trick or treaters that hit the PCA or the IPCPR trade show in 2010. That's how the damn bloggers thing kind of started. But there was a bunch of people who came into that trade show thinking it was a great smoke. And I put a little on the IPCPR at the time, who I don't think really set guidelines for, for these people to come in. I don't think, I think, but don't get me wrong, people shouldn't behave unprofessionally. So there was a big controversy on that, on whether bloggers at the time should be allowed in or not, and there was a fight, and it was a compromise done where, okay, they can come in, but they're gonna have to pay to come in, and that's why the fee was put in for all practical purposes.
Right.
Here's what happened. Along the way, the people who figured out they can get in and bypass the media route. Namely, they can call on a manufacturer and get a badge and get into the trade show.
Mm-hmm.
And that caused, like Matt just said, a whole bunch of problems. And the big problem was the access. Okay, so they can get on the trade show on setup day. We can't, for insurance reasons, which I can respect. All right, but they were getting on. These guys could be on the trade show for 2 hours before everyone else. There was content being put up from booths, like on that setup day, that we didn't even have a fair chance at access for, right? So there was this irony that I'm paying dues, but the people who were getting the badges from the manufacturers were getting on the trade show floor, right? It was just something really broken about this, right? We're trying to do things the right way. You and I are trying to do things the right way, Matt, but this was happening, right? Then this came up at the press conference this year, and Scott Pierce made a comment at the press conference saying there was some incidents again of unprofessional behavior, which I probably should have pressed him on that in the meeting. I didn't. And he made the point saying it wasn't anyone who was in the media press conference. And it was also like an implication that it was happening with the people getting in with these badges. I will tell you, several members of the media went to Scott Pierce saying there were all these people on the floor with badges from manufacturers. We saw a bunch of them on the floor. I'm not saying they were bad guys or anything, but again, there were people who were not going in with a process. And I made a comment. I said, well, maybe next year I should just go to this company and get my badges for my team because I'm going to get more access. And it was kind of a little bit of an aha moment, I think, when I made that comment to a couple of the PCA guys. And they were very interested in hearing what I had to say about this. So ultimately, I think the problem is the loophole is almost impossible to enforce, right? They're going to try, and we'll talk about that. So I think there were a lot of media guys who were saying, look, why are we paying to get in? And at the same time, there was this paradox where I'm paying to get in, but I'm getting less access than the people who bypassing the credentials. So I think the best solution here is what they did. They killed two birds with one stone. The question is now, they are going to have to tighten up who's getting into the trade show, vet the credentials, and if people are bypassing, getting the badges, are they going to enforce that? And I have some questions on that because PCA has not shown they can do that in the past. Now, when I joined PCA or IPCPR, I got my credentials vetted. I sent this binder with content. I sent a notebook binder with content, and I actually sent the physical page, and I actually sent electronic links as well. I sent all that. But when you joined, there wasn't much of a process from what you told me. No. So by the time you got in, there wasn't really much question. That they kind of stamped you and you got in. So they got away from that. But the other thing is the PCA has not shown they are in the police business yet. And we've seen that with, just what people bring on the trade show floor, some of these crazy products and everything. So I have not seen them able to do that. So they're taking a step here, which I think is the right step, but it leaves a lot of problems here, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they don't, because if they don't vet and they don't enforce, it's going to be the same problem and maybe worse. So, but I have some confidence that they can get this done because I know not everyone says Scott Pierce is perfect, and I think he's made some mistakes along the way. But in terms of how he's worked with the media, I felt he has tried to work with the media here.
He has. I have to.
Yeah, so I have to say that.
Praise for that.
You have to say that. And when we were at that when we were at that press conference, I'm not saying he agreed. Like there was some of the Antoine stuff he wasn't on the same page with. Obviously, he had a different view of that. But this thing, which he, a lot of us, and I know people afterwards went to Scott and said, "Hey, here's some badges. Like here's examples of people who are on the trade show floor, with invalid credentials." So it's happening. It's clear it was happening. So that's why that happened. It's a good decision. I think it was the right decision. And we just got a home run. Did you? Yes, we just got a home. Schwarber just hit a home run. Yeah.
Solo shot.
Another solo shot, unfortunately. Yeah. So apologies. I didn't mean to. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. Matt, the other thing I'll just say, and I'm going to let you talk. I was really surprised at the teeth this story had on Coop. I mentioned it was one of our biggest traffic days of the year. And I think it was the fourth biggest traffic day of the year when I did the numbers this morning. And, there were a couple of others that were bigger. So, obviously FTA, and I had one story go viral, and I forget what the other one was. So people were interested in this story. They could say they're not, but they were, which surprised me. I didn't think this would have as many teeth as it did.
Yeah, so I agree. I think this was the right move. As somebody who, is going into their fourth year attending PCA. Yeah, I mean it's the right move. We're not.
Jay's right on that comment up there. But I'm sorry, Jay's right on that comment. They did do that. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they went enough, but they did that. Yeah, there were other examples maybe that they did. But go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I know people gave me crap because I was critical of certain people being at the show after my first and second years. But you also have to understand something, though. I went into it doing it the right way, and I spent money, and I had sponsorship money. I got skin in the game, and I did, even though I was new at one time, and I don't consider myself that new anymore. I've been around. I also felt like even when I was new, I followed the proper channels and I respected the boundaries. And when I saw other people not respecting that, it's like, well, here I am putting in all this work to do things the right way, and you see people cutting corners, and it's just kind of disrespectful because I've always just been under the chain of thought of well, you do things the right way, you follow the rules, and you work hard, and then people will respect you. Not well, you cut corners and then you just make it happen. I understand that sometimes that happens in life, and we've all done it, and we've all been there. But at the same time, I think that the best people try to avoid it, if they can, and then some people just find loopholes and exploit them. But I will say, walking around the trade show this year, I saw people who, I recognized from social media, and while personally, I they're nice people, and I don't have any harsh feelings about them, I'm like, well, okay, so what are they doing here? I know that, the guys from Dojo were saying, they thought there was too much media, and to some degree they are right. There's a lot of media people walking in there, and I saw this one girl going around with her phone, doing cigar education stuff, is what she said. I don't know if she has a website. I don't think she does. I think she said she mostly makes TikTok videos, which, listen, I understand, but
why?
What happens? See, the problem is what happens is the trade show is already so busy, and there's already so much going around, and there's a handful of us that are there not just for video, but also for real, journalistic work. So we write articles, we report on stuff, we take photos, we do a lot. We do video too because people like that, but there's a lot more we do to it. So, and we take up manufacturers' time to do that. We do it. Number one, we want to pull back the curtain. Yeah, we make money on it as the media. It can't really hide from it and lie from it. I mean, you guys see the the names and stuff that Drew Estate sponsored all of our trade show coverage. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's right there. I mean, yeah, they paid us money to go there.
We had 3 sponsors ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so like
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you.
That's why Coop. The reason why I'm saying all this is I'm trying to, because you always get the people who are like, you guys are complaining and blah blah blah. Oh, you're talking, you don't want other people to show, but like, what about you? And it's like, but the reason is because there's some of us that go to the show to do a lot of not just video but journalistic work, and we have money on the line and there's skin in the game. And then you have a lot of people who just show up to make content for Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that. And when you already have manufacturers complaining that there's too much media, it's like, well, who should be given the priority? The people with websites who write articles and have shows and do videos and do all of that stuff that actually, gain a lot of different kinds of traffic from different kinds of things that do help promote what they're doing. And, when you have the same people coming in there 20 times a day being like, can I make a video for Instagram? And they got sales to make, it's like, okay, versus, someone like myself or Coop or Charlie Minato or the guys from Dojo or, Cigar Aficionado, those guys are there too. And, we sit down for an actual interview, which some of, we do video, but then we actually sit down and we take notes. And we're like, well, what are you coming out with? We take our photos. We get information that we build a whole article on. A web page that gets traffic, that they share out, that gives people very detailed information and pictures of the new products that the consumer is looking for and that they're going to want to know about. And that is why we do what we do. And so when you have that going on over and over and over again, and it seems to be like too much, yes, obviously the manufacturers find it overwhelming. And it's like, well, how do we cut it down? Well, it's like you cut it down by, the people who are not really bringing, I mean, and I know people are going to argue with this, and, we'll deal with it when it comes. But in my opinion, I feel like it's more valuable to have the people like, those of us with websites who write articles and put stuff out that gain significant more traffic, and more detailed promotion of the things that are going on at the trade show. It's 4-0 Phillies now, by the way.
Yeah, but Harper hit a home run. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my reaction.
I didn't.
Yeah,
but
Harper,
just to explain, because we say things on the surface and everyone jumps at us for saying it, but like those are the real reasons why.
Yeah.
And so when you got to like Eric's point, because I know Eric's like, I think there's too much media there. I mean, yeah.
See,
I think that's what he's talking about. Is it's like you have the core of us, and then you have all these other people, and the majority of those people, they weren't even paying the $450 fee for PCA. They were coming in with Rocky Patel and everybody else.
But this is where I disagreed with Eric, right? Eric's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Eric was like, "We'll raise the fees." No, if you raise the fees,
I disagree with that too.
You were going to create this what I call the rogue media channel. Much more, you'd have more people now floating over to the manufacturers. That couldn't happen, right? That's why they had to take the step they took here. So now there's no excuse. Now there's no excuse for these people to go through the right channel on this. And I'll say this, look, there are some influencers out there who do some very good work. And I have no problem with them, but they need to follow the same process as everyone else is following to get in. And look, I think it's great that they're going to be revisiting my credentials every year and your credentials.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming this is going to be some Antoine's going to be heading up, right?
Yep.
Which is a good thing, right? So I love that they're going to be looking at existing sites and make sure that they're kind of doing their job here as well. So there's no excuse for these people now, and to get in. Now the problem is, you have some of these influencers who are brought in by a manufacturer to be their influencer, and then they start walking around the trade show floor and doing content. I know one company brought a photographer in, and this photographer would be there for like one day, and then he's off doing his own content everywhere else. Those are the types of things that I think are, like, again, he should be going to he should not be brought in from company XYZ. He should be applying for his credentials, and he can go wherever he wants, but, he shouldn't be getting a badge on the manufacturer. The process should be, if you're going to do photography, even if you're working for one company, or if you're going to be a TikTok video for one company, you need to go through the credentialed media route. That's going to be the big question: is how well a job PCA is going to get that message out to these people. That's the part I think it's going to take a couple of years. I don't think this is going to be a silver bullet this year, but I'm willing to give it a shot here, saying that this is a step in the right direction here. So that's why I think it was the right decision to remove the fees, because again, now you have taken this off the table. The money issue is not there anymore. Now, I've been kind of also the other thing. I'll be honest with you. I've heard people say I can't afford to go to the trade show because of the fees. I'm like, I have a tough time with that with the price of hotels and airfare. Like, is that because that's, I mean, I don't know. That's just me. That's just, I can understand maybe if you're a one-man show, that 450 is much more to absorb than if you're a three-man person with the 450. So I kind of get that piece too.
Yeah, I mean, we have 5 people now. How many? Maybe 6.
Yeah.
Could be 6 soon. You know, that's a lot of people to bring to this trade show. When you have to so on the old way, you got 3, and then every single after that was $150. So, you know, you do the math on that. Then,
yeah,
you know, it's my business, it's my website. You know, it's like I have to pay to get there and stay there and all my other fees. I have to sometimes we have to buy new equipment, or we have to you know, there's when you add it all up, it's thousands of dollars to go to this trade show.
But that's the cost of doing business if we're going to cover the trade show the right way.
Right, and that's fine. And I understand you got to spend money to make money, and that's what we do.
Right.
But when it's not like you go into an event and you're paying like $100 for tickets and you're getting some cigars with like a baggie, and you know you get to walk around and get free food. Like it's not the Great Smoke. You know, not that I'm not knocking the Great Smoke. Just making a point.
Right.
You know, I'm making a point that it's not the Great Smoke. It's a professional business event, and you know we are there to be professional and do the things that make the manufacturers hopefully happy. Sometimes not, because you know, unfortunately, sometimes people have shitty trade shows.
No, it happens.
But regardless, we're there to cover the show, and to something that Coop always likes to stress is not just cover the show, but capture the vibe of the trade show. We capture the vibe of the trade show,
which we didn't do a good job again this year with that. But we have some. I think we have a better plan, hopefully this year. But yeah,
look at Jay Davis. Jay Davis is a smart fellow. You know, just the cost of sending Mitchell Santaga from Canada must be enormous. The one good thing is in Las Vegas, he's closer to Vegas than I am, so his flight's shorter. Therefore, it's cheaper. But yeah, I mean, you got to think about shit like that. Like, you know, it costs them money, you know, to come down from Canada. Like, it's a whole ordeal. You know, it's not like, you know, people. I feel like a lot of people think when they hear us like complaining about stuff, they think like, oh, it's just a cigar event. Like, why do you? And it's like it's not though. It's not like just a cigar event. This is a very professional thing. And for media, time is of the essence. We don't have like extra time to waste. So all these little things matter, and it's expensive to go.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there was a clearly broken thing the way the system was, and I've not heard anyone come up with a solution yet to fix what's broken in the system. Eric had a different view of it, so I'm not beating up on Eric. I mean, he had a different view. I didn't agree with that one, but I saw some. You probably saw that half wheel thread today with some of the asinine comments in there. I mean, there was just some asinine feedback in there today. It was. You know, I mean,
where? Sorry, where?
On Half Wheel's Facebook page, there was a bunch of asinine comments today.
I saw.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, by someone who hasn't been to the trade show in 4 years, right, and despises media, right? So I mean, and just was spilling stuff that wasn't even true, right? It's like this person was saying that media was vetting other media. Like, where do you come up with this stuff? No, media never has vetted other media. It's been previous regimes have asked us to do it. I ain't gonna say they haven't, but no one's ever done that. I mean, no one I know in the media would ever say they want to decide who comes in and out of the trade show, whether you like someone or not. You don't want to be making that decision. That's not our decision to make. That's the trade show's decision. Yeah. It was just, but I mean, there was a lot of just misinformation about that, but very few solutions. And I'm at least willing, and Eric even said it in his comments, it's something different. Let's give it a chance here, and let's see if it works. And I think that's That's what my approach is going to be before, and then I'm sure we're gonna Monday morning quarterback this on April 1st, right? And we'll have something. This worked. This didn't work. It's a step in the right. PCA, made some changes over the past few years, and it seemed to work. It seemed to be a step in the right direction. So let's give. I'm going to give them some confidence here that they can get this done here, and yeah. So that's kind of what I have to think about that. I think
So the other thing too I wanted to point out is I saw a guy there who I recognized from social media, who is I think mostly a photographer. Maybe he does some cigar stuff. I don't know. I mostly just see
right.
it. And I saw him walking around the trade show, like with his camera, like taking photos, like not like photos for his articles, like me, you, and everyone else does, but just taking photos of the trade show. And then I also saw him comment like, oh, like, yeah, no more fees for me. And it's like, well, yeah, but what are you doing there in the first place? Like, are you just walking around taking photos with people? Like, but that's just my point being that's a key example of like someone who's not there doing any journalism, who's getting in his media, who's like, oh yeah, now it's free for me to go. But it's like, but you're on the list of those people who's like, well, why are you there though? Like, are you contributing to media coverage, or are you just getting in there because it's cool to go to PCA and take photos with everybody? And it's like, that's kind of, and then back to Eric's point of like, well, there's too much media there. It's like, well, yeah, you get people like that. That's where
But again,
the extra
if they put a
comes
process,
from.
if they put the process in place, and the process is, and I think it's gonna take a couple of years to do this. I don't.
I
Think
agree.
I don't think it's gonna happen this year. Perfect. So I think the way I'll look at it, if I see things in the right direction, I'm sure there's gonna be some adjustments they have to make with this. I'm fine with that. Yeah. But you're 100% right on that.
And Jay put up here, thanks,
another-
Coop. You give PCA some latitude. Consider how different the show was in 2019 versus 13, heading
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
correct direction. I agree. No, Jay's right. Coop's right.
Well, it shouldn't be-
Everybody's right here. I mean,
if
I
it's a
agree.
disaster, I'm sure they'll address it. Okay, is what I'm going to
With
say.
the current regime, if it's a disaster,
They will fix it. Yeah.
will spin around fast because this regime, while maybe they're not perfect, they've been pretty good, and they're also the kind of people who I think take action quickly. If something doesn't work, it's like, all right, we got to get out of this. They're not going to let it linger. Be like, yeah, well, let's just leave it in place and see if it gets better. Like, they're not people to take a chance. They're like, no, let's tighten this bag up. We got to try something different because we can't have this again. And I respect that.
Yeah, I saw one other comment I wanted to just discuss with you on this.
Sure.
There was this notion that media should be paying to support the organization. Okay? And I have an ambivalent answer on this, okay? I agree we should support the organization, okay?
Danny's
and I
got
think
the
if
right idea.
if the fees are lifted and people are in a position to make a donation to the PCA, I'd encourage them to do that, okay? I'm not sure how everyone's going to be in that position, so I don't want to put anything on. But if they can, but this notion that I almost feel like I had like a T-tax put on me by going to the trade show. While there's a whole bunch of media guys who don't go to the trade show, well, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Okay, you guys are you guys sending money into the PCA to fighting for you? Are you sending money into the CRA? I mean, it seems like I almost felt like I was penalized for this, right? Which I feel was kind of unfair. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I've never had a problem with the fees. Although I think, like I said, we got to fix it now because of this. But like I said, I don't get am I paying the T-tax to cover the trade show? Does that make sense to me? Well, someone at home and someone who doesn't go to the trade show as a website made a comment today, and I didn't want to get into it on social media, but I'm like, well, okay, are you making a contribution as well? Because I feel if you're going to throw stones like that and say we should be doing that, then you should be doing it too, whether you're going to the trade show or not. Because it's an industry and we got to support our hobby and whatever, right? So I'm just being straight on that. It should be, shouldn't be on burden to the people who are going to the trade show already. I think you should go and contribute, whether you go or not, because it's the right thing to do. And if you're in a position to do that, then do it. Not everyone's in that position.
Yeah, the other thing I want to address, I'm sorry, I'm reviewing some of these comments because I'm sure more were added since I looked at it last. And it looks like there is. Yeah, what? Sorry, I don't mean to like leave it dead air. I'm reading a comment and I'm trying to decide if and how I want to respond to this.
I think if you guys, it's a questionable thing, don't respond until you're ready. But I don't think we should get distracted with it. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's funny that guys who don't go to the trade show are saying
Or telling
that,
me I should be supporting the industry. I mean, it's just I don't think it was.
I don't know if we're talking.
maliciously.
I don't know if we're talking about the same person. I just want to
It's
say
more
that.
than one person. It's more than one
But
person.
there's
So,
one person
all right.
specifically who said better off having no media there. Well, okay.
Well, that guy. That's the same guy who was saying. Yeah, it's the same. That guy's a clown. Yeah.
So
He wants
okay.
to run, yeah, as a brand owner who is very disgruntled at the PCA and is very disgruntled at the media.
And last time I checked,
So.
most media didn't cover his stuff anyway. So
No. So it's a
So,
disgruntled guy. You know, there's
you do it to
curmudgeons and then
yourself.
there's disgruntled guys. This guy's a disgruntled guy.
Yeah, you do it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. He's not even worth mentioning on the air, by the way.
No, I'm not.
I won't even give him his name on the air.
No,
yeah.
I'm
It's
not
not
gonna-
worth it.
I'm not gonna. Waste
You guys
your
could
time.
figure it out. You guys could probably figure it out, but yeah.
What was I gonna say? The other thing too is, people make comments like about, oh yeah, well the media only goes there to dry bag for cigars. First of all, yeah, there's been a problem with people going there with the intent if they want to trick or treat, like they're at the Great Smoke or the Big Smoke or any of the other big events where consumers go and they get stuff because that's part of going.
Yeah.
And they think they're gonna go to PCA and just be like, well, why are we getting free stuff? And it's like, we don't go for free stuff. What I will say though, however, is as a media person who has a team of multiple people
Right.
who has to provide all of them cigars, and those of us who have been doing this for a while and have presented the case that we don't need free samples, but manufacturers will give us things. Well, at the trade show, and they send us things to our homes or offices.
I've said this 100 times, Matt. What's so wrong about asking for a sample? It's been this taboo thing in the business. You know what? You could say no to me, right? They don't want to say no. They're afraid, so they make up all these excuses about trick or treaters and stuff getting stolen. But there's not, as a media person, we have a right to see, touch, smell, and try the product, and we have a right to ask for that. I don't think we should be demanding boxes of cigars or anything like that, and I think we should be doing it. Make sure we're engaged in a conversation for content before you do that, right? So I don't think, hey, give me some cigars and you're on your way. I don't think that should. It should be, you should be engaging with the content, and as part of that engagement, you should have a right to ask for a sample. And if they don't want to give you a sample, it's shorthanded. Just say no. I mean, this is not a. But I've they put that rule in years ago where media couldn't ask for samples. I don't think it's enforced anymore, to be honest with you. I may still be on the books, but there was a rule where you couldn't ask for samples for many years. And I remember the media guys who were kind of dealing with IPC Vera back then. I lambasted them over that thing. I said, why would you agree to that? Like, that is because they all wanted to go to the trade show and they were willing to do it. I'm like, why would you do that? You're immediately putting yourself as an you're not putting yourself up there as a professional there. All it had to be is tell the manufacturers if you don't want to give samples out to media, you don't give them out to media. It's simple, but they agreed to that rule for many years. It was a terrible decision by them, but for the media to agree to that.
Well, the other thing too is, and I had this discussion with someone recently regarding samples. I said, look, I go, this is what happens every year. People call me and they go, why wasn't my cigar on the list? And I go, well, I don't know. We only smoked, X amount, which is still a high number. But it's like, we can't try everything. We can't smoke everything. We can't always get to everything. I buy cigars from my guys. I send them stuff, especially Mitchell. I have to buy him a lot of stuff and get it to Canada and all. I have to do that. And there's only so much I can do. And I tell people too, like, oh, well, this came out, and it's like, all right, well, you know what? Like, if it means that much to you, that we try it, and if you reach out, like, hey, have you guys tried this? No. Oh, okay. If you want to send us some samples so we can try it, like, that's fine. I'm not gonna call you and be like, you have to send us samples.
Right.
But
right.
I will reach out to people and say, hey, There was a few instances where we were at the trade show and we were doing our thing and they didn't have samples. And I said, all right, I'll follow up with you later. And they're like, yeah, no problem. Because they want us to have them. And I'll follow up. Be like, hey, could we still get those samples from the show? Just because we haven't smoked any of it yet. And, the end of the year list is coming and, stuff like that. And, everyone always cries that they weren't on the list. It's like, if you want to make sure that we at least, checked it out and it was part of the discussion, it would help us out. If not, we'll put it on the list and, we'll get to it if we can. And, even the guys at Half Wheel and Coop, I mean, you can attest to this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that comes out. I mean, you look at the lists. If you were to make a list, and I think Half Wheel has one, where it's like every cigar that's released from January 1 to December 31, everything that comes out. That's a long fucking list. And when you think about like all those cigars that have to get smoked and tried, and then by one person, let alone a whole team of people that all have to do it, and then sit down and review it, and then make a list of all those, and people don't understand. Like, it's very difficult. And so yeah, the reality is when manufacturers send us stuff, it helps because it's like a reminder. It's also just easier because it makes it easier for us to get our hands on something else too. It's like, all right, well, let's put this into the rotation. Like I had this discussion with someone, early in the week, and they were like, what do you need? I'm like, well, I need this and this and this, and like, oh, well, I was like, I got a team of guys. I got 3 guys doing reviews. We need to do, so many cigars to review. If you want it done, like, this is what it is. I mean, if you won't send it, I'm not gonna be mad. If you don't want to send it, that's fine. But it's like if you want us to give the attention, like, this is how it works, and it's. There's a difference between begging for cigars or dry begging for cigars or just being like, oh, I just want because they just want them versus like the manufacturers that actually look at us to publicly review or talk about or grade or put it on the list or whatever, like who actually, they get something out of that. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you giving us stuff helps, not because we're going to give you a good review if you gave it to us, but just because it just kind of puts it on our table like, oh, shit, we got to do this. This just came out. We got to try this. Let's get it in the rotation. Sometimes it's just simple as shit like that. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that go behind all the little things that we do on the media side. And it's not always just because, like me, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be point blank with you, whether you're an industry person or you're a consumer who watches or listens to the show. And this is not like, and Coop can say the same fucking thing. I know he can. We get and we buy a lot of stuff during the year, whether it's given to us or we buy it, because we also spend a lot of money on stuff too. We got a lot of stuff. Believe me, and this is nothing but the truth. I don't need to go to manufacturers and ask for free stuff. I really don't. I already have more shit than I need, want, or otherwise have the room for. Like, if it needs to be done for the website, we will get it. It'll go to the guys. It'll get done. But, like, just to have stuff, I don't need to just have stuff. If a manufacturer gives me something, at this point, like, it goes into the rotation for reviews and stuff. And a lot of it goes to the guys. A lot of the stuff I don't even keep anymore. I don't fucking need it. Like, so I don't need to go to the trade show and be like, oh, can I get some free stuff? Like, I really could care less. I really could. Now, if someone wants to give me something because they want it reviewed and tried, or if it's a new product that, we want it, sure. But, like, I'm not there just to rack up a bag of goodies so I can be like, ooh, look at all this stuff. Like, it doesn't work like that. Not saying that there's people who don't do that, because there are, and that's the problem. But the rest of us, like, yeah, it's nice to try new stuff, and it's helpful when you get samples of the show. It's nice, but believe me, it's not going to break my heart if I don't get samples.
Yeah, I take a slightly different approach, but I think we're on the same page with this. So one is
I think the point is the same.
Yeah, we don't review show samples, okay?
Well, we don't either, but still, I mean,
Yeah. And by the way, you could see our scoring and of what's a sample and what's purchased and what is sponsored and non-sponsored. Every year on Coop, that data is all out there for everyone to look at. And they can look at that data and they can make their own judgments. So I don't want to hear this, there's free cigars or whatever. We have that in place. Now, what we do need the samples, okay, Matt? This is where I may disagree a little, because we are covering a trade show and people want to know what we smoked. That is the most important thing. What was good? What can I look forward to? So the samples are important to us from that aspect when we do shows, and we'll use some of those samples throughout the year on shows and everything. We just
Yeah,
won't
we
put them
too.
through a formal assessment, right?
Yeah.
And then my guys, and actually just my guys, we put the sample. I let all my guys take the cigars they want first, and then I take the leftovers. So usually they always I want them to have better cigars than I do because they're working very hard. But so yeah, we do need the samples. That's why I want. But I will tell people, hey, we're not reviewing this. The only way I'll take a sample, by the way, is I won't take a sample. Basically, it has to be sent from a marketing person. An authorized representative of the company has to send that to me, whether it's the owner of the company or someone designated to do that. As much as I love reps, I will not review a cigar from a rep that's been in the car. I don't know where that's been, right? So it's either got to come out of a humidor or it's got to come from an authorized source of the company. It has to be like that. I've had a couple of weird issues happen when I've not done that. Like the cigar was missing a secondary band or something like that, So when I take a picture of a cigar and it has a secondary, it doesn't have the secondary band, like it's useless. It's a useless picture, you know what I mean? So that's why it has to come from the proper channels here. And I won't if a company sends me unbanded cigars and they're not in the stores yet, they're not getting reviewed. We'll smoke them, give some opinions on it, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't, I agree with what you said. My point just being.
No, I think we're on the same page. I think we do a little different, but I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah, like my point being, like either way, like we get done what we need to get done. Yeah. It's helpful when they give them, but that is not that's not like in my top 5 things like that I need to get done in the show. Now, if I go into a booth and I'm having a conversation, especially when it's people I know, and they get something coming out, I might be like, oh well, do you have a couple of them just so we can check them out? Yeah, no problem. But they also know at the end of the day that we're smoking those, so that way when I come on a show like this, I can talk about it. I smoke it and go, okay, let's review this, and I get more of them, and then I have one of the guys review it. So it's like, that's the reason why. But if I don't get a sample from the trade show, it's no skin off my back. I'm not like, oh, I didn't get any free stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you there's a major cigar we didn't get.
Less stuff I got to ship home.
Yeah. There was a major cigar we didn't get samples from at the trade show, and it wasn't done on purpose. It just didn't happen. So we didn't make a big deal of that. But it was a very, very I don't want to say the company, but it was a very prominent company too. So, but we know that company's always taking care of us, and we'll be taken care of. So we weren't worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this discussion, and the only reason why I contribute to it is because. Oh, I feel like a lot of time I see the same usual suspects.
It's been 13 years. It just never changes.
Who just attack certain people for like just trying to like stick up for the people who are here for good. And it's like, but there's been bad eggs, and before my time, like all media was frowned upon because of the bad eggs, and it's like, well, you have to try to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, it was very hard those first few years. Because like I said, it was really a small group that screwed it up for everyone in 2010. It wasn't a lot of people, but it was a small group that made a big enough impression that created this whole thing about the damn bloggers. They're in it for the free samples. Like I've put out articles. There's an article on Coop from about 6 or 7 years ago where I laid out the costs. I'm like, samples don't justify the costs of this type of stuff doing business even. So it's just it will never, the battle will never, it's not even worth getting into it with them. It's better just kind of discussing it on a show from time to time like this, because you're never going to convince these people. Like, when you have a disgruntled manufacturer who's kicked out of the trade show, what else is he going to do? Of course, he's going to spit venom on everything possible.
Well, for me too, it's like, what happened?
Home run, Diamondbacks.
How many runs? I don't see it.
Solo, Thomas.
Well, it's one. Who's on the mound?
Wheel's getting tired. Yeah, Wheel's getting tired.
Oh, Wheeler.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, he's 7th inning. He's
what's his pitch count?
It's like in the high 90s.
Yeah, get him out of there.
They don't have anyone to go to right now. That's the problem. So
they got no one warming up in the pen.
I haven't seen anyone yet.
Well, they got to get.
I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted. Yeah.
Yes, Danny. This is an iron flask. I have a couple of these. These are.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing. But yeah, no. I mean, the only other point I wanted to make on that whole discussion was, especially now more than ever, especially even now more than before. But it's like, I stand up and make my opinions known when it's someone saying anything about media or the reason is because I got like Kevin, right? And Kevin will call me and Kevin will get stressed out and like apologize to me when like something doesn't go out like right exactly on time. Even though I know Kevin's on top of his shit where like if he's running behind, it's no big deal. I know he'll get it out soon. But like because I know he gives a shit and he puts in the time and the effort to help, the bigger picture of everything that we're doing at Smokin Tobacco. And it's like, so you get a guy like that who's stressed out because his review didn't go out on time and he feels bad for me, even though I'm not holding it against him like, a knife to the throat or anything. It's like, well, just get it out. But like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I get it. Like, so it's like I got my team who gives a shit about this and gives a shit about me and gives a shit about our brand and gives a shit about this website that we started, 4.5 years ago. Because they want to do the right things and they want to help it grow. And then, you got people who go online and sit behind their keyboard and they make comments about the
But
media.
any of these people making the comments, they honestly it's sour grapes. They need some attention.
I know.
They just need attention because they're not getting it.
But I'm always going to defend my guys.
Yeah, you always want to defend your guys. I agree. You want to defend your guys. It's important.
I got poor Mitchell up in Canada. He suffers like a slave, with everything that, just to get him stuck, what he has to go through. And it's like, these guys, these are not just fly-by-night, people here. I mean, this is, and it's just, you hear the comments from people and you're just like, I'm sorry that you're in a position where you're not happy with the PCA or whatever the hell crawled up your ass this year.
Yeah.
But it's like don't just make comments that like my guys are nobody and they don't deserve to be
I've
there.
just I've learned to not even engage with them. It's not even worth engaging with them anymore. If I know someone and I disagree with them, I'll it's a little different. I know the person really well. Like I was talking about Eric today and Barry, and I didn't agree 100% with them, but I know those guys at least, right? And I know, it's a different. I think they're in the right place with what they're doing. So,
right.
This other guy, he's completely. I'm not gonna go there. So
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I don't, but that there's a couple of retailers who have made the comments about media in there for the free samples, and I will not walk in their stores ever. And I've kept that word. And there's a few of them, and I've told you at least one or two of them. So you make that comment, I blacklist you. I will not go to your store.
Same.
Yeah, you do that. You want to ask me an honest question. Look, I know Jay a long time. If Jay disagrees with me, he's gonna pick up that phone and say, he said tonight, right? He'll disagree with me on that. But I'm not gonna get mad at him on that. But Jay's never said these guys don't belong at the trade show. I mean, it's like, yeah, but I won't go in. I will not. I'm sorry, I will not go in your store.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I kind of have the same approach, and
there's
sometimes I've disagreed with Jay. And I think there was once upon a time I said some stuff
I disagree with Abe all
really
the time.
Disagreed with, but I still love Jay, and Jay loves me. Like, we still get along. I mean,
Abe and I have had some knockdown, drag out fights, but I tell you what, I'll go into Abe's store every time. Like when I'm going down to Miami, I stop in there, and we have fun doing KMA and everything. But we've disagreed on some heavy topics, Abe and I too. So, and by the way, it's never personal. It's like even we have some. Sometimes it seems like it's personal because we really get into it, but no. I mean, it's all good. And look, if someone made that comment and they apologized to me, I'll accept the apology and lift them off the blacklist. But they never did that, so.
They usually don't.
Yeah, they won't. So I just ignore them.
End of 7th.
Yeah.
Well, they got out of that one at least with only one.
Yeah, they're going to have to go to bullpen in the 8th, though, so I think they're going to go to Alvarado or Hoffman, it looks like. They have the bullpen going, but they at least let Wheeler go 7, which was they needed that. This is a meat.
Yeah, I mean, going into the last two,
Just
get
don't put
someone
Kimbrel in.
warming up. Don't put Kimbrel
Yeah.
in. Fuck's sake. Don't put
No,
him
they
in.
need. I don't think they should give up on Kimbrel either. But he's been overworked, and I wouldn't even put Alvarado in tonight either. I don't understand why they're not using Lorenzen, who I think is a great pitcher. He's the guy who pitched the no-hitter this year for us. So he must have gotten Thompson's doghouse, or he must be hurt. Is all I can think of.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think, Bat's got to come alive, get a couple more insurance runs in this top of the eighth, just to take some pressure off. Not that there's a lot, but
no, it's not over this game. I'm not with this bullpen.
It's not over.
I am not. It's not over this game. Trust me.
But a couple of insurance runs right here would be good.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
This game goes 4-3. It's suddenly a different. This guy on base, someone hits a home run. It's 4-3. So
it's true. It's true. So I mean, a couple of insurance runs here, would be nice for out of the Phillies. And I'm committed.
By the way, this is a very rare thing I'm doing tonight. Normally when the Phillies game's on, the phone goes off. I am glued to. I don't move from where I am, and I don't answer any messages or phones off. I don't do any. I'm not on the computer till that game is over. I don't message in the middle of the game people or anything like that. So yeah, you've probably seen that a few times. I
know how you roll. I know how you roll.
And sometimes I passed out, like I'm tired, and then I just pass out, and then I don't get to anyone until the next morning. But yeah, I typically that's how I. So this is a treat tonight because I wasn't going to cancel on you. So this is rare that I'm actually watching the game and
we've done this a few times, but I know how you roll, and I know that you don't.
Yeah, I would for a show. I would always keep a commitment with that. That's how I roll. Yeah, I mean, so it was kind of funny because I had Mickey Peg on for Game 5 of the World Series last year.
I remember
who's a Philly guy, and I had Andy Green on Thursday night, but the game was over already when Andy came on.
Ah, okay.
So and Holtz is a Philly company. Holtz, I should say, Ashton is a Philly company. Holtz is their retail arm, but Philly company. So we talked a bunch about, by the way, cigars that went to the Phillies too. So you guys could check that out.
Well, I know how you roll with the phone during the game, and I'll still text you anyway because I know when you're done, then you see it all.
Yeah. Now the Giants have been a different story. I have not watched the Giants since week 1. I
stopped watching the Patriots. I just can't.
I can't. Well, here's what I'm going to say. It's a little different. Belichick has earned a bad year, Matt. Okay,
no, that's true.
23. He has earned. He should not be fired after this year. You know what? Next year is a different story. 2 bad years, I can understand that, but he has earned. He has earned to have 1 bad year. This guy with the organization, and I think he's a great coach, and I hope they don't get rid of him. In my opinion, I hope he turns it around. So it's a rough year. The Giants is a different story because I don't think it matters who the coach is anymore. The ownership is so bad on that team that I don't think, until the team's sold, I don't see any hope. I mean, you got a guy who everyone thought was the savior last year, and you don't give him the tools to and they stink this year. So I can't even blame that. So I just said I'm taking a break from the Giants right now. I may go back to and if you want to call me a front runner, I don't care.
I think the Red Sox are kind of in a similar boat. I mean, yeah, they brought that the John Henry ownership group has brought 4 World Series titles to Boston. Since 2004, and that's great. But
I mean, they have the greatest.
Years, they just, I don't know.
They have in the last 20 years replaced the Yankees as the beast of the East.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, they have. What's Pedro say? Who's your daddy? It's kind of, right? So, I think I'm really interested in who they're going to get to run this team. That's what I'm really interested in, because this should be a prime job for a lot of people, in my opinion. This is I don't understand why people would avoid. Is the ownership bad, Matt? I never got the impression the ownership was bad.
Well, they like to every so often, and there's a pattern you'll notice. They spend the money and they make good runs, and then they cut back on spending, and they reserve their spending.
The Mets do that too. The Yankees kind of have been doing that lately. The Phillies probably will do it again at some point. The bookkeepers come into the owners, This is what happened. The bookkeepers come to the owners and they say, "Hey, you got to," and that's what happens. I was told this from a Major League Baseball player that this is what happens. And now it's
I
not
know
like
it
there's
does.
extreme. Now there's extreme places like the Royals and the Marlins. I'm not talking about them, but like the situations with the Mets is a really good example. The Mets with this under the previous ownership, the bookkeepers would come in and they told the Wilpons you're spending too much money, and they listen to the bookkeepers sometimes. So,
And I can tell you firsthand, being part of a Major League Baseball organization for a long time on the inside and just seeing how other parts of the business work. The money stays in the clubhouse. So if they overspent one year or they didn't have a good year and, they got to cut back, they'll cut back in the clubhouse, but that's like the last resort. I've seen a lot of things get cut back because they got to keep the money in the clubhouse. And, I get it. At the end of the day, it's still a business. And nothing fills the seats better than winning. So
no, I mean the difference with the Phillies is now the guy who's running. It's a multi-ownership group. We have a billionaire who's the principal owner now. We have this billionaire John Middleton who has more money than he's one of the richest guys in Pennsylvania, I think. We never had that before, but at some point, I think his accountants are going to come in and tell him to cut back. I just think it's a natural thing that happens with most teams.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't think Steinbrenner did it.
Kevin said no one wants to work for Henry. 10 people have already refused to even interview for the job except for Gabe Kapler. Yeah. Not a surprise.
That is just, It is just, I don't even wish that on. I don't want him to. I don't want him anymore. Honestly, would you hire that guy to run a lemonade stand? I mean, seriously. I wouldn't. I mean, it's just...
I just love how much you fucking hate the guy. Like, he got fired, and it's just like...
Look, I haven't said much since he got fired, but now when I see him going to a team, I know I have a lot of fans. The only person who actually, and I think he's needling me, right? But the only person who had anything positive to say about this was Terrence Riley. Because he just wants to needle me. I get it, right? And probably Ruben, right? Who thinks it's probably the greatest hire in the world. You don't want this guy. I mean...
We all know he's a renowned baseball player.
Let me tell you, Rob Rasmussen, right? From Dojo, right?
Yeah.
And he's a friend of mine. Boy, Rob and I have had some. And he works for the San Francisco Giants. He loves the Giants. And Rob and I have had some knockdown dragouts about this guy Kapler. But I tell you something, when Kapler left, I didn't see him like crying. You know what I mean? I didn't rub his nose in it, and I didn't say I told you so. And we just, and I hope he gets a good manager there.
Here's the comment of the night right here, and I'm only bringing this up because I think it's.
Oh no!
I just can't help.
If it's a comment, I'm afraid who you're gonna bring this comment up.
It is, but when you see it, it's just so stupid. It's like, I want the Yankees to sign Kapler as GM. Really? Really?
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Why? Why do you want George Steinbrenner rolling over
Alan
his
likes
grave.
guys who have no experience. That's why.
George Steinbrenner's rolling over in his grave at the thought of Gabe Kapler building his team. Damn.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
if I was the New York Yankees and I put out a story and made a big press conference, it was like, we have hired Gabe Kapler to replace Brian Cashman, I'd be like, what?
Let me tell you. So there was some talk about Kapler being considered for the Mets job, and it wasn't received well in New York. But I don't think he's interviewed. So it was all of a sudden, it's like, it's funny how everyone made fun of me, right? But when it's their team, and I'm not saying big home run. Big home run.
Who
hit it? Because I just took my...
JT Realmuto.
Oh,
382 feet.
Yep. 6-for-1 Phils.
2-run. There you go. See, there's the insurance runs we were talking about. There they are.
It's important. We're not done. We're not at this yet.
If they win tonight, it's 3-2. They got to go play two more in Philly.
It is not over.
I know.
I do not want to go to Game 7 with Arizona. Whether it's a Philly or not, Arizona is a solid, fundamental, good baseball team. I do not want to play them in Game 7. Better managed, yeah. So I am not ready to at all. We got to close this out.
It gets a lot louder in Philadelphia than it does in Arizona, though.
It does, but it's not always perfect there either.
No, I know. But still, they only gotta win one. So if they win tonight, they gotta win Game 6 and wrap it up.
We got really lucky with our we got to go to the bullpen, see what happens now. So we're gonna see what happens.
Dan Thompson's here with us tonight. Dan, howdy. Good evening.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a good Dan's. I had a great time in Texas, by the way. I did. It was a great event when I went out. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but great event. The McAuliffe event. Great weekend I had.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that. But yeah, I mean, it's something Nicole and I have talked about doing and going to. But we just haven't been able to make it.
Yeah. Fort Worth is a great city. I've been to the Dallas Metroplex before. I had never really spent time in Fort Worth, and I really kind of fell in love with that city a bit. So, just a really great area.
And I've always wanted to go to Texas. Texas has always been on my list of places to go.
Yeah. See, my sister used to live there for a time. When I was with IBM, we had a big office in Dallas. So I've been there. I've been there about probably 20 times, but I'd never gone into downtown Fort Worth. So that was my first time. The closest I was to Fort Worth was where Bear used to live. I went and met Bear. That was in 2000, right before the pandemic. I went to see Bear about one day before his wife gave birth. His wife was with their second kid. So, and I happened to be out there, and I'm like, Bear, you sure? And he's like, let's just meet somewhere, So he took me to a great burger place, and we met for a while. And then we went to smoke near his house, so the call came, he can get home right away. So,
while we're on this topic, it reminded me we have Dan's from Texas. Dan was on the show with Mickey Peg this week. Absolutely, Dan, it was a great time. Thank you for being on the show. And I'm so happy that you're here tonight.
I have to catch up. I had a lot going on this week, so yeah, I was unfortunately had to work a bit.
But I went to Nicole, myself, Nicole, and Nicole's brother. We all went out to eat last night. We went to a Tex-Mex place, a place that we like.
And
it's Tex-Mex, not a Mexican restaurant. It's Tex-Mex, so it's like a little bit of both, right?
Right.
That's how Tex-Mex goes. And we were getting drinks, and her brother and I like to drink whiskey, and they're like, oh no, we only carry tequila here, and I'm like, what? They only had tequila in the bar, and I'm like, I can understand if it was a tequila bar, a tequila restaurant, maybe just an all Mexican restaurant. But Tex-Mex, I'm like, you don't even have whiskey? There's a lot of whiskey that gets drank in Texas. I know there's probably some tequila, but come on. No vodka.
Yeah,
I thought that was a miss.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
I know you're not a big drinker, but
Yeah.
I like tequila, but I'd rather have whiskey.
No, I get it too. I want a nice whiskey or bourbon.
Especially bourbon. Yeah, that's what we drink. We drink bourbon.
They actually had, and I got it gifted to me, J.R. Ewing bourbon from the character of Dallas. And I bought it at the old Joyle's Liquors in Rhode Island, right? Because I wanted to try it.
Yep.
And it was really good. Like they were doing, I guess it was, I don't know, because popular character. I don't think they make it anymore. It was called J.R. Ewing bourbon. I said, I'm gonna get it because even if I didn't like it, I'd give it to my dad, who's a big fan of the show. I ended up keeping the bottle. But yeah, it was really good.
So first of all, I don't know what it is tonight.
What?
Next time you're in Texas and you want a good steakhouse, I would recommend Texas Roadhouse.
Who said that?
Take a guess.
Why do we even go there?
I'm sorry. I sound like what?
Why are we even
like,
why are we even
is he stoned or something? I don't understand. What the fuck? Yeah, come to Texas, go to Texas Roadhouse. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where I'm going. All right. Dan Thompson, I like this. This is funny. Dan goes, "Is there a moral hazard when a restaurant chooses their selection without consulting you?" Well, they don't have to call me, but I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, 101. It's just like, why don't you just have that on the bar? What happened?
Guy on base already with the bullpen.
How many outs you got?
None.
It's all right.
Strike out.
You got a strikeout?
You got to strike out at least. Yeah,
All
at
right,
least.
You got one.
Sorry, yeah.
It's all right, Coop. Just breathe. Got a 5-run lead. I know it can be diminished, but I mean it's.
I am not confident.
They got one more inning. They can do it. What did I tell you? They can do it. You know what? It's still Red October until it's not.
Yeah.
Just tell yourself. Look at Coop over there. He's just, man, I can see the anxiety brewing in his belly right now.
And guess what just happened?
Nah, don't say they got a home run.
I'm just trying to see. The ball went deep. No, it looked like it was foul. Yeah.
Damn.
This is what I deal with every year in the playoffs.
It's all right, Coop. It's all right. It's not over. You got time. It's all right. It's all
Yeah.
right.
Until I get 2 outs, so I feel a little better now.
You got 2 outs? All right.
Yeah, I see it popped
You got
out.
2 outs with a 5-run lead. I know. Look at him. He's just shaking over there. If you're listening at home and you can't watch, I mean, he's just like shifting his weight. I'm telling you, he's gonna start smoking that cigar a lot faster now because he's gonna have that, that cigar's about to grind down to nothing. Yeah.
This is good. By the way, this is a good cigar. This Howard J. Cameron is a legitimate. I don't know if it's African Cameron. I don't think it is. Okay. I think it's Ecuadorian Cameron, but it's still pretty good.
I actually lived EP Creo Allegiance.
Rated 90 on Cigar Coop, by the way.
Rated 90. Nice.
Rated 90 on Coop. So yeah, that's a.
I love how you think that's a joke, but it's like, why shouldn't you celebrate a good review?
Okay, I love kidding you. I mean, all I know is I didn't see the show, but I heard you and Mitchell were doing Coop voices on Thursday, on Wednesday night. I did hear that. I heard it. I didn't hear. I heard about it. So like, I can't wait to see what you two cooked up on Wednesday night and I'm sure Mickey chimed in too. So
I just want to say something because because there's a lot of people who don't know and there's some people who do know. But I've been, and I can't just do anybody. But people who are really close to me, people who I work with and stuff. People know I can impersonate people pretty good. I can't do everybody. And I don't have to necessarily learn how to do them. It's very instinctual. Like I'll meet someone and I pick up on their voice, their mannerisms and their characteristics, and something inside me just clicks and it just knows how to do them. And it honestly, sometimes it just comes out. Like if I'm like, oh yeah, so and so the other day was like telling me about this.
Yeah.
And it comes out. And I have no rhyme or reason to it. And they're like, oh, can you do so and so? And I'm like, I can't do them. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it just doesn't work that way. But then there's people I do, and they're like, oh my God, right? So I can do a little bit of Coop. It's not that hard to do. And that's nothing personal against Coop. It's just for him. It's kind of just. But there's other people who I've done, and other people think it sounds good, but I don't love it. But there's a couple people at work. There's a couple people at work who I got down good, and people will come up to me during the day and be just and initiate it. They'll do it because they want me to respond and do it, and then I will, and it's just oh my God, it's like he's here. To the point where I've been at work, and a lot of times at my job, there's a lot of radios and stuff, and I've done other people over the radio to other people, and I fooled them. And it's the funniest thing in the world to watch the reaction on the other end when it's like, what do you mean? You told me. No, I didn't. And it's just damn, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been known from time to time to do Coop. But I do when I do the imitation of Coop, It's not because I'm making fun of him. It's because I love him, and I think it's fun.
There's two guys I go into all the time. You know who the two guys are?
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah, Jose and Saka are the two I tend to do, and I love those guys too. So, Jose is just kind of like it really comes natural. I don't think my Saka one's all that good. I've been told the Jose one I have the mannerisms down more.
You do all right with Jose. I'll give you that one.
You know something, Matthew?
Well,
people always tell people told me about your show the other night, and there was a lot of good feedback. And
you gotta lower the voice a little bit though. Oh, Coop. I always heard the show the other night. I tell you, there's a lot of guys out there that ask me all the time. What's with this guy Coop? I don't know. I don't play into it. And then you got Kevin. Who's very easy to do, and Kevin's one of those people that. And it's not a bad thing, but it's just, again, like I pick up on people's characteristics. Kevin's one of those guys he's not a quiet guy, but he's not always a man of many words sometimes when you have a conversation with him. And again, it's not a bad thing, but it's just kind of how he is, and that's fine. But it's easy to do Kevin's little sayings because there's not a lot of them, and they're short because he's not like a very full-winded guy all the time. So, like, what perfect example is, like, every time, like, I get on the phone with Kevin and I answer the phone, I'll be like, hey, what's going on? And he'll be like, what are you doing? And it's just like that. Every time. Just, what are you doing? I'm here with Barbara. I'm going to light up this tatuaje. Right on. Right on. That's how he ends the conversation. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I got to do some stuff. Right on, bro. Okay, right on. Right on. So, I mean, it's just one of those things I can do. People, people know that I've done Matt a few times, and he knows about it too. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know. That's a fucked up thing. A lot of people don't know when I can do them too, which is another interesting part of it. Because I always get has he ever seen you do that? And I go, no. Because you never know how people are going to take it. Like with you, I don't really care. Because I know it does. I know it doesn't bother you. Because if it did, you would have been like, hey, I really don't like that. And I would have been like, I'm sorry, Coop. Now I feel like a piece of shit. And I'd crawl up into my shell and I would never do it again. But there's people who don't know. And I'm too afraid for them to find out. Because they're either going to think it's hilarious or they're going to be like, I hate that. So, like with you and Kevin, I don't care. With Jose called me fat, so like the gloves are off now. I don't care. But Jose is also a good sport. But yeah, it's funny.
I got Jose his cigars, by the way, so he was going around the country with.
The Cooper storage space is finally empty.
yeah. The humidor. I claimed half the humidor back.
Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you. So, I think we talked about this on the air last time, but we talked about Cigar of the Year. We talked about putting a list together this year and how so far it's been a little challenging to put a list together with what's come out this year.
Yeah.
And I know that you mentioned that you had some more reviews coming down the pipeline that weren't finished. But as you go through them and finish them, that might change. I know that you've posted several reviews since the last show. I've seen you post a lot of reviews the last couple of weeks. And has that changed for you? I haven't seen them all, but like for you, has anything changed for you?
Yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be down to the wire, but I think there were 390s. There's been a lot of reviews. I think we've published 12 or 13 reviews since the last show.
Yeah, I was going to say, you posted a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of reviews that I did during, I did reviews during when we were doing the PCA stuff that, just had to get written and everything and done the photo stuff. So it's going to be close, but normally I do a 30 cigar countdown. It might just come in at that. So if it basically, 90 will get you on the list. And 89, if there's 89s I won't put on the list. So that won't happen. So it's going to be close. Okay, I think I got 27 90s or aboves right now. So, but there's been a few surprises too, and there's been a few things that got 90 I didn't expect, and a few things that didn't get 90 that I expected. So. It's gonna be close. We'll see. If it's 29, there's gonna be 29 cigars this year. I will not. Here's the thing. I don't know if like I do when I score on my sheet. There's fractions. If that is 89.98, right? Because I can't go down to the hundredths. It's an 89. You didn't get a 9. I am. Yeah, you do not get. There's no curve here. So, and that's happened a couple of times earlier in the year this year. And that's it. That's it happens.
I've been heavily smoking through a lot of the new stuff that's either a contender and I need to revisit it, or stuff that I just haven't got to yet. I've been trying to just like bang through them so I can be like, is it good? Blah blah blah. In addition to all the other stuff that's getting reviewed, but a couple of new cigars, or this year new, that I've smoked recently. Some I liked, some I didn't. There's 2 from Altadis that came out, and there was a split. One I thought was great, and one of them I didn't think was that great. The Aging Room Sonata, not so great. But that Monte Cristo, the Diamante, the other one, which one was that? Is it the Diamante? It's the Diamond something.
Diamante.
Yeah, the Diamante. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I really liked that one. The Aging Room,
I like the Aging
Sonata,
Room, but I haven't scored it yet.
Didn't love it.
I have to. So that's one of the cigars that's still in the queue to be. The review hasn't been written yet, but I liked it. But I don't know what it came out to yet. I got to go. Like I have all this data I got to collect. I just kind of. I don't score it until. I don't tabulate it. And I don't use spreadsheets. I transpose to a spreadsheet how I do it on some very detailed notes. So I purposely haven't tabulated stuff yet. Just because it's then I don't want to influence any other reviews that haven't been written, if that makes any sense. So I'm really careful with that. But yeah, it's I have had nothing score over 92 this year. So 92 is going to get you Cigar of the Year this year, most likely. Last year I had a 91 creep up to number 3. So in the re-smoke, and that was the Tatuaje that kind of snuck up there. Because I think I was telling you, that cigar was like the one that trended up the most.
That was the T110, right? Because me and you, I think,
the T110 Reserve. Yeah.
We had it at the same spot.
Yeah, we both had it 3.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, because I do a lot of reviews, I have to, and not everyone can do this, I understand. That's why it has to be reviewed.
Midnight.
So the deadline is it has to be released before the trade show, but it has to be reviewed before the 31st. And if I get sick and have to go to the hospital, and that review's not written, which happened to me one year, by the way. I'll tell you which cigar it happened with too, in a minute. It goes to next year, and guess what cigar it happened with that year? I got sick when Jose was at EP Carrillo, the Encore.
Oh.
And it wasn't. Here's a weird thing. That was the last cigar I smoked before I realized I couldn't smoke anymore. So it missed it. It made it the following year, but there was I couldn't review cigars. I'm coming down with sepsis, right? So I'm like, I didn't know I had sepsis, but I was sick as a dog, right? So I stopped it. So literally, the Encore didn't make it because of it was smoked, but I didn't have it wasn't through the full review cycle. So but it made it the following year. So
another one. Excuse me. Another one that I smoked, Kevin smoked. Mitchell doesn't have it yet, but he'll have it soon. And Nicole smoked. That I liked it, and the other 2 didn't. And I was surprised. Was the 2023 Las Calaveras.
I love that cigar. I smoked
too.
that down at Jay's store. Smoked that down at Jay's store, and I bought extras to take back. That was a good cigar. I smoked that at Blue Smoke at Dallas. Jay,
I liked it.
Jay Smith. I liked it too. It wasn't eligible because it was. I think it was released right at the deadline, so it didn't make the review cycle. It'll be in next year's review cycle, but it was very close to that deadline when that got released, from what I remember. I think it was maybe a couple weeks before the deadline. I just couldn't get to it, but it's a good cigar. I like that cigar.
I did too. Kevin had said to me he didn't love it. Nicole smoked one with me. last week, and she was like, "Oh, this seems a little barnyardy," and I'm like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah, it's all right." And
I
I
thought
was
it had
like,
those. I thought it had
"Really?"
those rich mocha notes. Yeah.
So I was very
I
surprised.
like. I like that. I think it's one of the better Las Calaverises that's come out. Even.
Me too.
And usually
It's got
those do
broadleaf
pretty
on it.
well. Yeah, those usually do pretty well on the Coop list. A lot, I think 3 times the Las Calaveras has landed on my list. So yeah, I mean I enjoy that one. Like I said, I remember I had that one at Jay's the second day I was there. I remember I was in there in the morning. And then Paul Costco from Oliva came in a little later. So yeah.
Yeah, but I was very surprised. So I don't know how that's gonna fall on. I don't know how that's gonna play with the end of the year. Because I smoked it, and I was like, wow, I really like this cigar. And then she had it, and then he had it. So now I'm curious. I'm curious for Mitchell to smoke it and be like, all right, so yay or nay. And if he don't like it, it probably ain't getting on the list this year. If most of the team didn't like it, but
I
I mean, it's too
I
bad. I
really
thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
I have
that's
yeah.
another one. You got what? You got one?
No, no. Go ahead. Yeah, nothing in particular.
So again, I'm at that point where everyone's smoking everything right now, and we're starting to really talk about who likes what, who doesn't like what, and it's interesting because it's like you smoke stuff and you have a list of stuff you like, and you have a list of stuff you don't like, and then like 2 or 3 of the other members on the team, will be like, I didn't like that, I didn't like that, I didn't like that, and
Yeah.
you're like, I had that on my
Yeah.
list, like,
So
it's tricky, but
I'm gonna ask you a question, okay?
mm-hmm.
So here's the question: name a company that sends you cigars to review, that you guys review.
CLE.
Okay. So do you have any CLE cigars that have kind of been in the queue for a little while?
I think so. Some of the PCA stuff.
Okay. So let me ask you this question: would you smoke a cigar that's not in the queue ahead of that CLE before? And I'm telling you, I've seen this is where, and I'm not trying to pick on Steve, but I see this happen with Saka cigars all the time. I know who gets cigars, I know what people review, and I see all these Papa Sakas going right to the front of everyone's queue right now.
Well, I think that
I'm not saying it's wrong, by the way. I'm not saying it's wrong. I tend to not do that. I won't penalize a company because of that. Mine tends to be first in, first out. That I get it. Doesn't necessarily mean the order of the review gets published that way. Because I'll smoke, like, I would smoke, I can prioritize the publishing and the review after, but I know people have bumped cigars for their favorite brands. And I'm using Steve as an example. I've seen it happen with Nick Malillo. I've seen it happen with Drew Estates. I've seen it happen with other companies, is what I'm saying. So I just wonder that, right? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I do see it happen.
I think that there's a dozen brands or so where they put stuff out and it gets higher priority to get reviewed quicker because there's already hype on it. It's already a very popular brand. It's already a cigar everyone's been highly anticipated.
I can understand it.
And they want it
and
reviewed
I can see Steve,
to get the traffic. And I get it. And Steve,
yeah.
no exception. He's one of those people that he puts something out, it's got to get reviewed because people want to read it. I mean,
so I struggle with that because limited sometimes have a shorter span. So do I bump a regular production cigar with a limit? I've had to do that sometimes. I gotta be honest. Something that I have adjusted the queue a bit, or that where I'll say is I'll smoke it in the same order, but I'll publish those limited ones earlier just to get them out there. And I have a few limiteds at the higher part of my list this year, which is weird. Because I've been anti-limited edition all year, and I have limiteds floating to the top of the list again this year. So,
did the Phillies just get another home run?
No, it's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs.
Oh, okay, so my page wasn't updated. Sorry, it wasn't updated.
We have certain. I mean, I gotta say, it's our manager got his shit together tonight. So,
well, heading back to Philly. Let's lock it up, close it out.
Well, not done yet. It's not done yet.
I know.
This team, I've seen this team. Strange things happen with this team.
So stressful. I just want this game to be over just so you can relax.
It's Dominguez against Longoria.
I don't want to
3-1.
jinx you because I know you'll get all stressed out even more because you'll think I'm jinxing you. But it's like I don't see them blowing this lead right here at this point.
Yeah, they just walked a guy.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be all right, Coop. Just breathe. It'll be all right. Now, let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
If the Phillies were to win the World Series this year, obviously I know you'd be happy. But
we're not there yet, yeah.
I know we're not there yet. I'm not even trying to, like, I'm just trying to, if they were to win a World Series, I mean, what would happen? Like, would you just be happy, or like, would you like let a lot of baseball beefs go, like Gabe Kapler, and you just finally be like, who cares? Like,
well,
I feel like you need that. I feel like you need the Phillies to win a World Series to let a lot of beef go.
Kapler's gone. I mean, Kapler is not an issue.
Yeah,
anymore.
but you still bitched about him when he was in San Francisco.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Mad
it's like, when do you just like, you know what? I got my World Series. I'm good.
Okay, but you gotta remember. Okay, there was a circumstance with that, Matt. Because for 2 years I beat the shit out of Gabe Kapler. He wins 107 games. Everyone's telling me how wrong I was about Gabe Kapler, right? So, damn, another hit. Two men on base. First and third. I told you it's not over yet.
They just need one more out. Fuck.
This is what.
If they blow this right here, right now, then they don't even
deserve.
They don't even deserve anything.
No, they don't. They don't. In 2008, though, I gotta say, when it happened, it was so great because 2008 was when we won. It was a big. I was happy, but I never at all assumed we were gonna win it that year. That was a famous Game 6 where it was stopped because of rain and we had to restart the game the next day, or not restart the game, finish the game the next day, and they won the World Series. Like they only had to play like 3 more innings or 4 more. Oh God, there comes the manager. He's pulling out Dominguez.
Who's he bringing in?
I think he's gonna bring Lorenzen in. I think Lorenzen's gonna come in. Oh, I'm happy about that. I like Lorenzen, but he's not a closer. But we'll see what happens. These guys just get one guy. You gotta get one out. Dominguez has been pulled off the mound. So I like Lorenzen a lot. So we'll see what happens. He was terrible tonight. But it looks like Baum. It looks like Matt Baum's coming in. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. They're gonna come.
So we've had a few, especially playoff, right? Where we've been doing this show, and like big playoff games have been going on and have ended while we've been on the air. The last one that I remember was Celtics and the Heat back in the spring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a great series too.
That was great. I remember having the game on and thinking that like it was over, and fucking.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. Yeah.
What was it, Game 6? Celtics came back and won it?
It was Game 6, and then it went to the Game 7, yeah.
And then we lost.
It was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy game.
So between the Miami Heat, the Phillies, the New York Giants.
I did not order the NBA package this year for the first time in a long time.
Why?
Because I'm so disgusted. The Sixers, I'm disgusted with them, too, until they get this Harden thing resolved. Maybe I'll buy it then, but I'm not watching as long as he's on that team.
Yeah.
I just won't.
Not a fan
I just can't. I'm not a fan of his. I mean, it's just.
Although nobody annoys me more than fucking LeBron James. I can't stand him.
I like LeBron James. Okay, let me rephrase that. I get it. Okay, the guy's a drama queen. He says stupid things. What a hell of a player he is to watch, and the guy wins. If you told me I could have LeBron James on the Sixers, sign me up. Put the GoFundMe he's making it up. I'm going to GoFundMe. Sign me up for LeBron James for 1 year with the the Sixers, please.
Okay.
I would take it. Look, I don't like his drama, I thought he had a surly-ass attitude when he won with the Lakers that year. I didn't like his attitude when championship rings are being presented or the trophies being presented. He just had this sourpuss on his face. I'm like, I get he has things he believes in and stuff like that. But this notion of the Jordan thing is ridiculous. I mean, it's just a stupid argument. And Jordan is Jordan, man.
I know. He's never going to be better than Jordan. There is no argument. I mean, Jordan's better than him.
And look, why isn't I never see the Jordan-Kareem comparisons. I mean, so it's funny. Like, no one compares Jordan to Kareem. Kareem was an amazing player. Mm-hmm. Bill Russell, maybe not quite the player Kareem was. Bill Russell had championships. I mean, that was the key thing with Bill Russell. That's why Bill Russell's, in my opinion, Mount Rushmore basketball player with all those titles he won.
Yeah, I mean, especially, the Celtics, back in the day. I mean,
but if I put, I would have Kareem, Bill Russell, on Mount Rushmore, Michael Jordan, of course, and I don't know who the fourth one would be. I'm not ready to put LeBron on there, so I'm gonna admit that. But
hold on,
I'm not saying
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I'd put Kobe ahead of him right now.
Yeah,
I would. Kobe was great. Yeah, I would probably put Shaq ahead of him too.
I probably would.
Shaq had, Shaq really, that last year he played for the Celtics, he was a shell of what he was. He was a shell of the player he was,
I was surprised. I was like, what is he even fucking doing there? Like,
yeah, they tried that. That was the year they tried. That was like that was after they won it, right? And they were trying to get back one more time. Yeah, they were trying to get back one more time with Doc. At least Doc's doing games now. I like the fact that we'll get Doc as an announcer because I really like Doc. So
I like him too.
Yeah.
I'm like waiting on this Phillies game to end just so I can see the stress.
We're one strike away, guys. So.
And here's the thing: if they do lose this game by some chance, we'll never hear the end of it. Coop will talk about this for the rest of the year.
No, I mean,
they blow a 6-1 lead with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth.
I thought yesterday's game was worse than the no-hitter in the World Series last year for me. It really was. It was just a bad managed game.
It was. They honestly, they should be celebrating their trip to the World Series tonight. That's what I think. They should be.
Game 3, they didn't hit. I get it. The bats are going to go cold on a night. I get that. Arizona's a pretty good scrappy team. It's not 2-2. Just throw one over the plate. That's all you need to do. But I think this, like I said, I've had so few winning seasons, Matt. The Charlie Manuel days were game over.
I'm seeing out.
It's over. It's all game over. Phillies win.
All right, 3-2.
All right. Now we got to see who we'll find out who Pedro Martinez has as his daddy tonight. So I always like that.
Wasn't Pedro on the 08 team? No, he wasn't.
He was on the 09 team against the Yankees. He came to the Philly. He was on the He played in that World Series against the Yankees. He actually, I don't want to say he did great for us. He actually was pretty good for us that year. That Yankee team was pretty good that year that beat us.
Was it 2009?
Yeah, that was a good Yankee team. That was a good team that year that beat us.
Well, yeah, I mean they won a World Series.
They won. I mean they were a better team that year. The one that killed us was 2011, losing to the Cardinals. That we had the best team in baseball that year.
2007?
2011.
Oh, I thought you said 7.
7 was we lost to Colorado. That was the first of the 5 division titles. By the way, Charlie Manuel, I'm actually very concerned about him.
I know you have been.
The reason why I'm concerned is Charlie Manuel's very active on social media. And he has not been. He wasn't active for 2 weeks for a while. They did post something the other day, which gave me a little. He did post something the other day, but he's obviously going through some. This stroke's obviously really taking a toll on him. So I hope he's okay. He's the most beloved. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's scary.
Yeah. By the way, you know what happened 43 years ago today?
What happened?
Phillies won their first World Series.
Oh, look at that.
I've only had 2 World Series with them, so I've only been through 2 World Series with the Phillies, so wins. So
I've been through 4.
you've been through 4. I have been through 5 World Series, 6 World Series with them. 6 World Series with them. Was the Royals we beat? We lost to the Orioles. We lost to the Blue Jays. We beat the Rays, lost to the Yankees, and lost to the Astros.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. It's no fun when you lose in World Series, man.
yeah. So tomorrow's a big one too. The AL is going to be pretty exciting too. So
Also, we didn't talk about this. What was with Rangers and Astros bench clearing brawl the other night?
yeah,
I didn't catch that game.
I did. I actually missed the brawl. I actually was in another part of the house when that happened, so I don't know what actually triggered it.
All I know is Dusty Baker got as fired up as he's ever been.
I love Dusty. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna end it
I think
there.
I think we're at it. Yeah. I think we did 2 hours.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
So thanks for everyone for watching along with the Phillies tonight.
It's just been so uneventful the last several weeks. It kind of sucks.
Well, news has been dead.
Yeah, there hasn't been. But even outside of just the news, I mean, there hasn't been any fucking drama. There hasn't been any news. It's just been like, it's a shitty time for the media.
Well,
Why?
what's happened? This is what's happened. There's normally so the PCA releases start shipping like this time of the year, and then there's another group of releases that we see come out in the winter, like and I've been told from some. Yes, and I've been told from companies, a lot of stuff's been pushed out to the trade show that they were planning.
That just means that the
they have
spring's going to be gangbusters.
The spring's gonna be crazy, yeah. So I mean, I've seen that General's done some smart moves. They're releasing like their samplers, but they do that every year. The samplers.
That's nothing new.
It's nothing new, but yeah, I mean, but otherwise, a lot of these other companies, you know, I know you got Steve on the show, and one question I have for Steve is Solita going to be something he just shows off at the trade show? Or is he going to try to get it into market beforehand? If I'm him, I'd bring it to the trade show, right? Just the new Solita branding and everything. It's a perfect opportunity. Trade show is a great opportunity to debut that.
I agree.
Even if he does some releases beforehand, you could have that as a feature. That's your Sober Mesa's his OG product. So I mean, it's a big deal for him.
The other thing too is I think Saka, and we're going to talk to him, this week on the show. But I mean, the last 2 years, especially this year, I mean, he brought a lot of stuff to the trade shows. So my question is, so what do you bring in March, 9 months later?
Yeah, I got this thing. I don't know if it's any good, but I'll bring it to the show and see what happens.
Horrible. Horrible. That is not a Steve. It's not a Steve. That's like a bad Alan Rubin.
What do you? It probably was. I'm sorry, Steve.
Steve's more like laid back, like out of breath.
What do we get?
I worked on this Liga for like several months, and I just wasn't happy.
So
with it.
is he coming?
I don't know. Maybe I'll bring it. But
is he coming to the studio?
It's a good question. I don't know. I forgot all about that. I have to talk to Steve.
Yeah.
I have to talk to Steve. I have to forget about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I need to get in touch with Steve on that. I didn't. It's a good point.
And you want me to come? I don't know.
I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna be like, on Saturday night, Coop was making fun of you, and he's gonna just be like,
he knows I make fun of him already. So.
Well, the problem with Coop, it's gonna be great. I can't wait. You want to talk about us making fun of you, but I want to see Soccer react to you making fun of him.
We don't have Pedro tonight in the close game, so I guess no Daddy. I don't know what happened.
No Pedro?
No Pedro.
Yeah.
He may not be feeling good, so yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
Pedro's a special guy. Nobody knows that better than Red Sox Nation.
Yeah.
Except for in 2003 when Grady Little left him in too long. That was on him. That was on Grady. Idiot. Should have taken him out. Oh no, let's leave Pedro in. Oh, okay. Let's leave him into the end of the 8th inning. Fucking moron.
Grady Little.
Fucking idiot. hilarious. Just saying. I was so happy when they fight his ass.
He
And then we got Bobby Valentine. Oh my God, you remember that year? We had Bobby V. I was like, what is going on here? This is a joke.
We're gonna beat the Yankees. I know we're gonna beat the Yankees because I'm Bobby Valentine and I'm the smartest guy on the planet.
I would rather have seen the Savannah Bananas play the entire season for the Red Sox in their place than watch that fucking shit show again.
So let me give you a little context. I know we're going a little over, but
No.
Bobby Valentine in New York. I was living in that area. I was like, Bobby Valentine was great for New York. He was just a character. It was like Billy Martin coming back again. He had that Billy Martin persona in a lot of ways. The kind of a little bit of bad guy, and he comes in with the he wears the mustache and everything. It was fun when Bobby V was with the Mets. Now, I'll be honest, that was a disaster season with the Red Sox. He should have stayed in Japan.
What a joke. What a joke.
And then yeah, that was bad.
Farrell was
bad.
okay. We got a World Series out of him. The rest of his years were trash.
I would take Farrell. I was hoping I actually wanted him to get the Phillies job a few years ago, because he was up for it against Kapler, and I thought he would have been a great fit for the Phillies.
Whatever happened to him?
I think he's retired. I don't think he was young either.
Oh. Cora was good, and then, the cheating scandal
they trade
happened,
away
and he had the
Mookie
year.
Betts. They trade away Mookie Betts. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think that was on
they
Cora.
let Evaldi go. They let guys go. They should have. I was a big Bloom fan in Tampa, but he did a terrible job for you guys.
Bloom, the day they hired him, I knew right away. When I knew they were bringing him to Boston, I already knew. I saw everything happen from day one that we already saw. I'm like, this is gonna suck, because they're bringing in a small market GM. They want to cut some corners.
Matt, good point. It doesn't. These small market guys don't work in the big markets. I was telling Hector that about bringing in Stearns from Milwaukee. I said, these guys, it doesn't work. It doesn't work most of the time. You have to have someone come up through the big market teams. That's why I think Kim Ng, who got fired from the Marlins, or was, I guess, parted ways with the Marlins, I think she's a great candidate for a team. What a great job she's done as a GM. With Florida. I mean, I think she'd be a great GM, yeah.
There's only one small market GM that actually interviewed for the Red Sox job before they gave it to Theo, if you know who that is, who I think would have been good in a big market team like the Red Sox, and I would have been interested to see how it went. Billy Beane.
My dad really liked Billy Beane. He had a lot.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah. So Billy Beane, I know, my dad had this big sales meeting every year when he was in the auto sales business. And I know one year they had Pat Riley. They had two big keynotes. One year was Pat Riley, and one year was Billy Beane. And my father came out of that thing and just, it was like, if you want to talk about keynote motivating people, Billy Beane really motivated a lot of people. So it was good. Yeah, he had a lot of good things to say about him.
Whether or not you believe in the Moneyball thing, you can't deny that. I mean, Billy really. I would have been interested to see how he did with the big market team. Because I think
he deserves a shot. I agree. I agree with.
Because I don't think that he would have approached a big market, payroll with like the mentality that Bloom had, where it's like, well, they're just trying to save the money, and it's like, you got the fucking money to spend, like spend it, like you're not in Tampa anymore, like you got money.
Yeah.
I think Billy would have spent it, but he would have found strategic ways to spend it. Versus, I think Bloom was like, we don't need Mookie Betts, we don't need Xander Bogaerts. Let's find some cheap guys that are just as good, and it's like,
that's what
you let everybody go though.
I don't see this guy Stearns as a great hire in my opinion. These small market guys don't work, is what I'm saying.
So Kevin asked an interesting question. What was wrong with Dombrowski? All he does is build championship teams. I liked Dombrowski.
He's great.
We got 2018 out of him. The problem with him for other people, meaning I think the front office, was they didn't like that he likes full control, and he, there was talks that he gutted the farm system and traded everyone away to have the big name guys in the big league team to win the championship. But in my opinion, your farm system is important. You're developing the younger guys. I get it. But when you got a big league team that's about to go on a run and you have that cache of players there,
Yep.
like the big league team, I think it's the priority. Like you fucking go for it. Like and he did, and you got a ring, 2018. I don't know. I that's the goal, right? What is it that Billy Bean always said? You want to win the last game of the season. That's winning a World Series. I mean,
Dombrowski's he's been great for us, and guess what? We needed our farm system gutted, so it was a perfect hire.
I have nothing wrong with Dombrowski. I liked him. I wish he stayed.
Oh, he has been a great. I mean, we had Andy McPhail running the team before, and it was awful, right? This guy's so much. I mean. He really has done a good job. I like him a lot. I like Dombrowski a lot.
Yeah. I was actually upset when they got rid of him. I was like,
I would be too. I remember a lot of it. Oh, he's gonna trade away your farm system. I go, I hope he does. We had the worst farm system in the majors. I said, I hope he trades away the farm system. He's good at signing. He finds these guys like the Castellanos and Schwarbers, and Brandon Marsh was one of the best trades I think we ever made. He's just been a stud for us. So, I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, we could be like Brian. We could be like Brian Cashman and afraid. Like he's not afraid to do things like Brian Cashman is. So, Brian Cashman's afraid of making big trades. It seems like so. Which I kind of don't understand because he's had so much success early on.
I think he used to. I think it's because remember, Cashman's been there for a long time.
Look, he's been a good GM. I mean, I remember one year there was talk he might not come back to the Yankees, and I want to say the Phillies were looking at this is about maybe 20 years ago that the Phillies were looking at him but he ended up re-signing with the Yankees.
He's been with the
Yankees. I want to say
so
after
long,
Ed Wade got fired. I think it's just after Ed Wade got fired as GM. That's when they were, and they ended up bringing Pat Gillick instead. So
I think it would be. And the day will come, but I think it's going to be weird when Cashman's not in New York. Even though I'm not a Yankee fan,
yeah,
he's just been there so long. It'd be like, oh wow, he's not in New York now.
I agree. Weird. I mean, guy's had a good track record. He hasn't had a good few years. I agree, but a good track record. All right, I think we've gone long enough here. So let's.
Hey, you kept it going.
I know, I did. Yep.
Anyway, that's going to be our show for this week. Thank you for everyone who watched. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms and everywhere you can find your podcasts. And don't forget to go to the new and improved SmokinTobacco.com for more news, reviews, and cigar updates from the industry. We'll see you on Wednesday night with Steve Saka on the Smokin' Tobacco Show.